The following Conscious Consumer Network recording of a live broadcast is available to purchase in high definition at ethymarket.com. Support free and independent media by becoming a CCN pledger. For €10 a month, you can have unlimited access to CCN high definition downloads at ethymarket.com. Ethymarket, the ethical marketplace for conscious consumers.
All right, folks, welcome to CCN, and this is the fastest ride on the planet. I'm glad to have you here. Strap on in. We'll be traveling at 10,000 feet. I don't want anybody losing any hands, fingers, or digits today. So I got the pleasure of bringing Sister Jessica back, and we did a show on the 7th, and I posted it far and wide for, if you're looking for it, just look at the 5,000 pages I post on. It's out there somewhere. And anyways, we're going into a different realm here, folks, because 95% of the neurons in our brain have gone to sleep. It's called programming. And so we're actually running off the old tape. So what Sister Jessica does is align the neuron processes a little bit. We're redirecting the traffic in the brain, sort of rewriting on the brain some new neuron pathways. And we also have another technology with the pace, and we won't talk about that too much today, but I really want to talk about how simple this technology is, and it's being done across the country. Like I say, Jessica, I was aware of it 6-7 months ago when I was in Colorado. A friend of mine was doing the same protocols that you're doing. Very, very, very effective. It's painless. It's easy. It's just because we have to restructure what's going on in our bodies. It's all about electromagnetic flow. It's been, right now everybody's not grounded. And it's a lot of different other parameters that can be done to get the electromagnetic flow of the body. Simple procedures like Celtic gray salt, magnesium chloride. People need a little bit of extra magnesium in their bodies to help get the uptake of dense nutrition. Other modalities, hemp powder for one. Hemp powder is I use it every day. It's extremely effective. It's got this no THC, but it's got the omega-3s, 6s, 9s that the body desperately needs. And it's got magnesium and other byproducts, but no chemicals, no fillers. And that's the problem with the planet is most of the stuff that people are eating is not dense food nutrition. It's just, they call it food for lack of a better term, but it's really been compromised on multiple levels, especially when they cook it in their microwave and stuff like that. So today, I'm excited to have you back for round 2. Folks, this is a very, very simple construct that Sister Jessica is working with, and I'm going to let her give you a little bit of enlightenment, sort of give them an overview of what we talked about on our last show, and so it'll give them at least some fundamental clarity.
Well, first, I want to let all your listeners know that hopefully this gets aired soon, because today on the planet, the electromagnetic energy 11-11-15 is at its lowest point. So everyone stay in your dream today, in your imagination, what you're really trying to create, because there is a porthole where it makes manifestation today, especially in the rest of the month, extremely easy to create. So you really want to be really in tune with your thinking process through the end of November. Also, look at your past thinking, because technology is going to be messed with a lot this month because of the electromagnetic energy being so low. So cell phones might be acting crazy, computers, airplanes. So watch your travel, watch your thoughts, because you have you have a huge loophole this month of really manifesting anything that it is you want. We're going to ride this wave of energy that's coming in, that's been here since September. I noticed this last week, there's been kind of a lull where everybody's kind of going through a little bit of a downward slope. They had that extreme high in September, and this week is kind of like, everybody's kind of processing a cold or something. And just know that, your thoughts are everything right now. And that brings us to the basis of the brain. When I opened Transcendence, I had no idea that I was going to be actually doing brain-based wellness, because I'm a spiritual teacher. I like to talk about the quantum field and possibilities and, remote viewing and parallel jumping and all these things. But at the core of it, we're not able to use our God-given birthright of being able to manipulate energy until we start to make peace with the brain. And we have to realize, just like Peter talks about, is we're constantly being bombarded with toxins. constantly toxic energy, toxic electromagnetic energy coming from cell phones and towers, and negative people, negative food, anything that's non-resistant and not resistance to the body's ability to discern information is kind of on top of our already PTSD that we've got from manifesting negative outcomes based on our old paradigm of thinking. So we are trying to get aware enough as a population to outcreate what is constantly being pushed into our environment. And so especially this year, I've been asked by my guidance to really, really push the brain reentrainment and clear out all the core beliefs in the neuropathic programming of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, because this is where all of those toxins can really penetrate our energy field. If we didn't believe that, if we believed that we were worthy, nothing outside of us would affect us. But we usually all at the basis have some sort of program running that says, God doesn't love me, or, I don't have help, or I'm not safe, or I don't have what I need. And when that's your core belief, that is the basis of your reality. And all those toxins can really penetrate your field. So we have been using something here at Transcendence that we talked about last time I was on the show, and it's called MindFit. And it kind of goes in along of, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy outlook, and healthy manifestations. And we got to work with the brain first, because spiritually we're acclimated. We're on top of it. We're ready to go. We're primed. We're in the fifth dimension, and the body is still fluxing between third and fourth. And it's having a real difficult time with the frequency around it because of the resistance that we've held from our trauma. So it's all about clearing trauma. Somebody asked me what I did yesterday, and it just came out. I said, I guess I'm a trauma specialist at this point, because it's like I feel like I've been in the trenches for the beginning of the year, just working and blowing out traumatic timelines. Anything from abuse to any toxic environment. And I will tell you, with the technology that we're using, it's helping people really get present. And really get back to self-love, which is really the only reason that there's war outside of us, is because there's a war within us. So it's really about conquering the inner self and connecting back to self-love. But we've got to move everything that's in the way of that. And we can do that. We can do that with the brain. The brain is just a receiver, right? But what thoughts are coming in, and are we discerning the thoughts, and are we believing the thoughts? And once we believe the thoughts, they become a neural pathway. And once they become a neural pathway, that belief becomes automatic, and it manifests in our reality. So our job is to not look at our circumstances and judge ourselves, but to look at what the programming of our brain is actually going on.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's excellent. And it's ironic that we're talking about the brain, but I want to go to the heart for a second, because I just posted this link far and wide to give people a little clarity. I found it on somebody else's page. A lot of people share some really good stuff. And here it says, the heart is more powerful than the brain. The heart is about 100,000 times stronger electrically and up to 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. So that's really good to know. So, I think because of the programming and how the energies in the body need to be realigned, because they haven't grounded the circuit, it's hard to find your way back to the heart when the structure has been superseded by electromagnetic dysfunction, for lack of a better term. The circuit is not running right. Those neuron pathways have been compromised. You got the old computer playing, and we need to rewrite on that old computer. Dr. Dyer's done some really excellent work in this area. He's no longer with us on the physical plane, but some incredible work by Dr. Wayne Dyer. You can look him up on YouTube, folks.
He's working with us from the other side now.
Yes, it's beautiful. I watched one of his videos. I want to share it because the man has what a heart. I mean, Jessica, I see nothing but this huge heart. This is a man who really got it, and then he brought it forward. So folks, I'll start posting some of his work. He's done some incredible work, because it's all about getting the heart vibration up on the planet. I actually do a show once a week with Sister Crystal, love is the answer, because I'm trying to bring up the love vibration at the same time as I'm educating and dealing with all these. So we're dealing literally with mind, body, and spirit, are we not?
Absolutely. And to go back to the heart, you know, the heart is telepathic. The head is not. The brain is not telepathic. The heart is telepathic. The heart is connected to every other heart on the planet. The heart is connected to the entire universe.
Yep.
And so the power and the potential of creation lies within the heart. But the heart is very quiet. And the mind is very loud. And the head is very loud. And stress is very, it gets your attention. So when your heart is whispering, you know, at the basis of who you are, just let love guide you. Sometimes with everything else that's in the way, we lose sight of the heart. And what we need to do is we need to clear out any those traumatic situations that are actually creating us from not connecting to the heart center. Because I will tell you, it's not about the crown chakra and, you know, the third eye chakra. It's about the lower chakras that need to be integrated back into the heart center in order for the whole system to be running properly again. And, you know, what does the brain do? It produces the hormones that tell the body what to do. So as the hormones are telling the body what to do, that's also bringing in magnetic thoughts. So beliefs are attracting thoughts. So if we have a self-love issue, are we going to be able to use our heart to live our lives?
No.
That's the question. So you're absolutely right. It's all about the heart. That's what every spiritual teacher's ever said since the beginning of time, is that the vortex of the heart is a field that's 365 degrees out, and the mind or the head is only generating around 5,000 feet.
Right.
So, but it goes back to subconscious versus conscious. And really all the programming is being triggered unconsciously by the subliminal information in the commercialism, the preservatives in the foods, the chemtrails, the, you know, negative programming from childhood. So it makes the whisper of the heart, it makes it feel like we're not in touch with that. And then that triggers all of our self-worth issues, like I'm not good enough for love. So first and foremost, we have to clear anything that's not love in order to even know what that looks like. I've had clients come in this week and say, I don't even know what that feels like. I don't even know what it feels like to love myself. So that becomes just an idea, just like God was an idea, or that I could heal myself as an idea. Until we make the non-physical physical, people still believe that they need to see it to believe it.
Right.
And that's why, you know, we need to be working in the heart, but we have to work in the mind to clear it out first.
I call it the 5 senses mind hack. Yeah, matter of fact, hey, Jessica, I'll post you the links. It's called The Awakening, an incredible construct of work. I was going to cover last week with Sister Chantal. I didn't get to, but when I finish this show, I will copy that link over into this when it gets posted out for consumption, because it's incredible. Because nobody can, all people can think is like, if I can't, it's all visual. It's not visual. It's just a minuscule percentage. It's, you've got to, sweetie, I've been star riding for 3 years. So you know what, I get to play all across the planet, do a little bilocation, get the energies realigned. I can walk outside, ground in 2 seconds, get into that right heart vibration, and everything just splits away like it doesn't exist. So it's been one hell of a ride for me. I mean, I didn't realize how simple it would be once I understood, but it wasn't just understanding, it's how when I let the feelings come through and let the heart just run, everything just sort of realigns with itself very, very quickly. And it's beautiful.
Well, and what separates you maybe from some other people on their journey right now is you believe you deserve that.
Yep.
You know, and the thing is if there's anyone out there who doesn't believe that they can do that, then that's where we want to work in the thought realm first.
Right.
Because the heart's never been damaged. You know, the soul's never been tainted. The soul is literally like being in a movie theater, and as you watch the movie, it's like, oh, don't do that, don't say that. But that's your higher self, and if you're not connected to it, that higher self has the viewpoint of watching the show unfold instead of really being able to interact with you. So we've got to get the thoughts cleaned up. We've got to get that person understanding that they manifest their reality through thought first.
Yes.
And as thought takes form, it builds belief systems. Belief systems build the fabric of your reality. Therefore, you can only experience what you believe. So if you don't believe in your own worth, then of course you're going to do what your government says. You're going to eat the food that the government says is safe. You're going to think that. I had a client come into me yesterday and say, oh, I have another UTI. The doctor says that's totally common. I said, absolutely not.
No.
And I have thyroid disease. It's becoming common. No, it's not. It's about what you believe.
Well,
and when you listen to that.
Yep. It's just like Dr. Lipton covering about your DNA being because, well, your daddy had a heart attack and your grandpappy had a heart attack, you'll automatically get one. That's the programming, literally.
Right. Yeah. And just like with any programming, okay, so this is what I do with PTSD. And I believe that everybody has a form of PTSD. But
Yes.
if you had bad water, bad food, toxins in your body, that's trauma. If you've been humiliated, if you haven't had what you needed in life, if you've, had money issues, relationship issues, you have trauma. Sorry. Everybody's got PTSD, and it triggers in the now moment. So the way that I handle PTSD here at Transcendence, or we do as a team, is first and foremost, change your environment, because your environment is the trigger. So if your mom is the point of your PTSD, and every time you get around her, you get triggered, you can't heal a wound if you keep opening it.
Right.
So you can't heal a body if you keep feeding it bad. You can't heal PTSD if you keep putting yourself right in the landmine of what it is that makes you feel undeserving or unlovable or not good enough. And the first thing we do is change everything. We clear out the environment. We remove toxic people for 30 days. We don't need forever. You don't need to, disown your family members. But for 30 days, you need to be able to get back to the resonance of your heart. And that is quiet, it's solitude, it's self-reflection, it's non-judgment. And when you're constantly with people who are telling you you're not good enough or triggering that within you, then you're going to believe your doctor. You're going to believe all of the scary things you see on the news, and you're going to get lost in collective consciousness. So removal of all toxicity, and I don't necessarily mean, all the food, but people I feel like are the biggest triggers for PTSD.
Yep.
I feel. And then doing a ton of brain reentrainment for a 30-day process, we can heal everything so quickly.
Well, and that's the upside. It's ironic. This is coming to the fray, the mind reentrainment. But it's ironic that Brother Brad over in Colorado, my friend, who I did a show with almost a year ago, was splicing and dicing on creating a construct, an endocannabinoid reset point with the body without getting the body high, no THC, but the highest CBDs on the planet, and using a construct that will uptake it to the neurons in the brain called MCT oil, which is a really good catalyst because CBDs can be stubborn getting into the left-right brain. But matter of fact, they did an independent study on all these other CBD companies, and we were the only ones that got A pluses because we were the only ones using the whole plant and using a transfer agent that would be a catalyst because it's got mid-chain branched amino acids that shove it right into the brain where it belongs, so we can rewrite the pathways on the brain, but not just the brain, the body, because everything starts to come in harmony through the vibration and pitch of the resonance of this beautiful manna from heaven. So I'm real excited that we just opened up all 50 states, and we don't need a damn permission slip. No, you don't need a medical card on any level. It's no different than hemp powder, which doesn't need a medical card in all 50 states neither. So
let me ask you, Peter, is it a paste, or is it can you take it orally?
No, it is a paste, but you're going to take it orally. It's got a little spoon that gives you a pea-sized dose, which is 1 gram, and I'm going to get down to the dosage with Brad. Anybody who's affected with some severe issues, they should be triple dosing a day. They need to reactivate as quickly as possible, get off the poisons if you're on. And anyways, so.
Yeah, I mean, even the things that I've been watching with hemp oil, because we do a combination here of brain reentrainment and hemp oil just to lower the vibrational frequency of resistance in the body. I mean, that's what hemp does, is it brings you back to the 0 point energetically of creation. So, I mean, Jesus talked about it in the Bible. Hemp is the super it's a super nutrition that we need for the shift right now.
It's a superfood that's been around for 10,000 years. I was talking about how the Egyptians did this. They were putting it in clay pots. They were eating it as dense nutrition, and they didn't have these compromisations of the body. But because we're being bombarded chemically, mindset, electromagnetic waves, this will bring the body back into what's called stasis, homeostasis, which is an alkaline state, and it affects all the neurons, all the nerves, all the physical systems of the body, and realigns it so it can come back to that, like you say, 0 point.
And you know what else it does energetically? Being a medical intuitive, I like to watch people take before and after. And the human body actually mimics the frequency of Mother Earth, which is a 5th dimensional construct. Yep. So within just about 30 minutes of taking hemp oil, the body raises its frequency to the 5th dimension. Nice. And so anybody who's actually technically ready for their bodies to acclimate, if they're doing a vegan diet, you're going to go faster. But, hemp oil and hemp right now mixed with, personal journey work, because you're not a victim. At some point you have to say, I am the creator of my reality, and you have to start showing up. So it's not just as simple as taking a paste and everything's just going to magically go away. But I will tell you that just paste alone, we're using it in pets and seeing crazy things.
Yes.
So it's getting everybody's body back to that center point, which is I am creator. And now I have the freedom to choose. So that's where the brain reentrainment comes in, because after you actually hit the reset button on your body and your brain and your heart, and everything starts to work in alignment again, then it's the choice you make from that moment that makes or breaks whether you go backwards or forwards.
Right.
So it's really about being conscious at that point.
Well, I think they can't help but being conscious once they realign some of the neurons in their brain, their body, on the physical capacities. It brings up the vibration. And that's why I teach over at Privatis for free. I give this information out. I talk about electromagnetic flow. I talk about Celtic gray salt, because the neurons are not communicating with each other. And just something as simple as Celtic gray salt. It's dirt cheap. Crush it up, put it in some distilled water, and watch what happens in less than 30 days to your body. I've been on it for 3 years. I vibrate really high. That's why I gotta do the THC paste, because I gotta even out a little bit, because I'm so.
You gotta come down.
It brings me to my buddy in Colorado. He goes, "You pasted, didn't you?" Because they see me in the morning. He goes, "You're just really calm this morning." I says, "Yeah, I know." I says, "I took a double dose last night, but it's a very, very potent. But it's also." It's got all the endocannabinoids, but it's also got the THC. This is the stuff that that Brother Brad has brought to the fray, is the highest CBDs you can get on the planet. He cultivated it, took him 3 years to get it to this point, and it's a very, very, but it will not get them high in any way, shape, or form, but you will get well.
Right, and it'll help the left and right hemispheres of the brain sync right into the center point and create the new command. So extrasensory kids, kids with epilepsy, autism, anything with our kids too. It's like this is so important for us to just start integrating this into our diets in every form that we can, and because it's only going to make us, basically, like you said, because the hemp is the same frequency of Mother Earth, it's going to ground you instantly. So you can use it as a grounding element to really connect your circuitry. You have to realize you're at the end of the day, you're a computer. And you're a computer that is, the body is the lens of consciousness. So everything that consciousness is looking through is distorted right now. So we've got to clear up the lens, which is the human body. And the human body is our responsibility for 2015 and 2016, the shift. That's why people are just spontaneously turning vegan. I see it everywhere. It's just change is happening. We're in the middle of a viral awakening. People's abilities are going to start busting through in the next 60, 90 days. People are just going to be waking up clairvoyant, clairaudio, clairsentient. And, if you've got fear patterns, that's like the superhero stories. Not everybody's going to be wanting to use these abilities for good. So our job is to once people wake up, give them every single possible tool that we can to get them back to that authentic blueprint of why they came. We're not trying to change them. We're not trying to slow them down. ADD is a powerful, awesome thing. I've got it. It's a multi-dimensional sensory unitary. So we want to use all of the things that we came in with. We just don't want to be, we don't want our lens to be fogged by fear.
Right.
We don't want judgment to be there. You know, I talk about in my workshops all the time. Fear, judgment, and resistance are holding you back from just all of your spiritual abilities just opening up. So,
Yep.
you know, you want to be psychic, you want to be all these things. Look at where you're judging yourself. Look at what you're afraid of. You know, because a lot of people are afraid of that stuff and they don't realize it. So again, all that is neural pathway. They probably saw something when they were a kid. It scared them. They created a neural pathway that said, I can't see ghosts. I can't see through the veil. And then they got blocked. So again, we're using our MindFit technology to actually increase people's intuition and psychic abilities as well, not just recover from PTSD. So we're using it for even athletic performance. We've got a ton of athletes on it. And so really, you have to realize that belief is the blueprint of reality. You can't see what you don't believe.
Right. Well, you know, okay, that's an excellent that's excellent to talk about that, because I did do bodybuilding back in the 80s, and I had to see the next level as I went up on lifting, because I was doubling down on my poundage. I mean, for a 150-pound guy to push 305 pounds, I had to see it first before I did it. But it was a gradual process. But I always had to see the next level, and that's part of having a vision. You have to have a vision. I have a friend that does yoga. She's excellent at it, and she sees her next complicated step, and she walks through it in her mind. Same with athletes; they walk through it. They see it before they do it. And then it comes to fruition. And that's the same with anything. Your thoughts are power.
Well, and the thing is a way that a neural pathway is actually created is you've observed something long enough or experienced something intensely enough where it becomes a real living manifestation. So observation, like how many times did it take you to practice tying your shoes before you didn't have to look down at your foot? You know,
Right.
How long did it take you to learn how to drive a car? There's so many things that your body is on autopilot for
Right.
that you have no idea, because your brain is always 10 minutes ahead of you. So it is perceiving the next series of events that are going to be occurring based on weather, temperature, who's around, energy fields, smells, all of these sensories that we have outside of us that the brain is constantly using as a filtering system to get you ready for your next move. And I will tell you that if you've suffered trauma, it's getting you ready for that too. It's getting you ready for, you know, someone to insult you. It's getting ready for, you know, and that's where the trigger comes from. And that's why all of a sudden, you know, out of nowhere, you start sounding like your mom and dad and yelling and you're like, where did that come from? How did I become my mother? You know, that's the thing is as soon as it triggers that behavior is basically played out belief systems.
Yep.
So you want to know what you need to heal. You look at your behavior of time, look at your behavior with money, look at your behavior in relationships, and look at your behavior with your own health. That will tell you exactly where your neuro-linguistic programming is and where all of your neural pathways are set in stone and where we can change it. So it's not like people go, well, I don't know what I believe about money. You absolutely do. What's your relationship like? You know, and then put them on a program. Because I will tell you, at the basis of every bit of lack, anything you don't have that you want in this universe is coming from a place of you don't believe you deserve it.
Yes.
And that is the biggest lie in the universe.
Yep. Yeah. The what is it? Abundance is plentiful. You know, the abundance is. It's a matter of fact, even on the Awakenings videos, it actually talks about the abundance. You know, that you have a way to intersperse on the planet in a good way. What you choose to do with it, you know, and see, that's I guess the point. You can make it work for you. And it's all about intent. What, you know, money is just a vehicle. That's all it is. It's just a vehicle. So what do you want to do with it? You know, it's ironic. I was thinking about money today, and I was saying it's not. It's I used to remember doing resumes. I hated doing resumes because how do you measure a man on a piece of paper? Well, guess what? It looks like they're measuring man on a piece of paper called Federal Reserve notes too. See, that all of a sudden snapped into my brain, and I said it's just paper, but it's just a conduit to get to the next level. So you know, we have to learn to look at it differently. And
can I tell you what the frequency of money actually looks like when I look at it?
Sure.
No, the frequency of money is self-worth. It's value. It's creative freedom. Because when you have money, you're free to create. You can develop, you can, you know, engineer, you can research, you can invent. You know, so when you don't have money, it is coming from a place of I can't create. So it's a belief in your own discernment about yourself that isn't true. And it's also self-worth. So think about what we invented money for. Okay, it's an exchange in value. So I have this, you have this, that's an equal value. Well, now money is starting to represent personal value, which is a fraud, because money has nothing to do with our personal value.
No.
But that's part of the programming. So people actually say, oh, well, you know, and I'm a really great person and I help a lot of people, but I don't have any money. They still have self-worth issues. Yep. So I'm actually teaching a workshop this weekend that will be on video, but it's called Love and Money, because we are not going to be able to bring down the banking systems and create new flows of value systems until we heal the relationship with money and self-worth. Yep. And how we see ourselves. Because, I mean, you know, you're a spiritual guy. I'm sure you manifest things all the time that are not money that still get you where you want to go.
Yes.
You know, and at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with money. It's the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. Yep. But a lot of people in this country can't just quit their jobs tomorrow and go save the planet like they really want to, or can they? You know, with this, again, we're using this technology to blow out those old programmings about money is not how you identify your value. It's who you are underneath all that. And the universe is only abundant. So if you're lacking money, you have an abundance of a lack of money.
Right. So switch the program. Hello,
right.
Get the fuck.
Change your perspective. But easier said than done. When it's a neural pathway, it's on automatic. So your body is technically on autopilot. Your body's electromagnetic energy is actually more involved with money coming in than you have any idea. It's not just a mental construct. It's not just, oh, let thoughts create things. Let me think about money. It's, does your body believe that you're worthy? Does your body believe you can have it? Did your dad say money didn't grow on trees? Because that program's still in there. So, or I'm not good enough, or you know, they don't see my potential, or fill in the blank of whatever belief system you have running at a central place in your hard drive, and it is literally keeping money from you.
And the nice part is that, you know, because I broke free from the construct on multiple levels, and this is sort of probably my last portal to go through, is probably the money issue. But it's not because I've had no problems interspersing on the planet for the last 3 years. I've been all over this planet. Whenever I needed to get somewhere, it was magic. Magic always happened and got me. It always manifested. Anyways, I was able to catch a train ride anywhere. So that's really been really neat. And that I think once I saw that materialize, I knew the next step would. But it's ironic. I've been working on this cannabis thing. This not so much the pace, but bringing forward the technology on the cannabis issue. And I thought I was going to have to go down to Ecuador 2 years ago, because that's where I started with Brother Johnny down in Ecuador. I said, do I have to come down there and grow? Because I wanted to help all the cancer patients. Well, here we are 2 years later, and we're now opening the portal to the next level, and I don't have to go to Ecuador to do it. That makes me really, really excited.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about timing, you know, and we've all been, you know, I'm sure you've been at this game for years. I've been at this game for years. But what we're actually able to do now is what we've been dreaming about for the last 10 years. Is now everything is in place. The grids are here. The portholes are here. The vortexes are open. And really the only thing left we really need to do is go back to that center point and really reset back into that authentic place.
You know, it's ironic. Yeah, you talk about 0 point. When in 1979, I was in the Mojave Desert, and I was listening to an album by Jefferson Starship called "Freedom at Point Zero." You think they were trying to tell us something in a memo?
Don't you think all music is channeled?
Oh, it is. It totally is. I mean, hey, matter of fact, I posted out yesterday. This song came in my head. I hadn't heard it in since I was 9 years old, by Harry Nilsson. It's called Spaceman. I love that song. And then I just thought of it yesterday. I hadn't thought of it since I was 9 years old. And I pulled it up off the computer in about 3 seconds. I said, I get to take a space ride. It's sort of like a Foreigner. They talk about star riders. And I can see, if you listen to the words, they're telling you everything. And we get to travel anywhere we want on the planet in these other dimensions. Believe me, when I've done the THC pace, I've been on some star rides.
I bet. I bet it definitely helps lower the veil. And I think that, I teach a process in my life coaching certification class where I teach people how to kind of project their consciousness outside of them into other objects with asking permission. And it's amazing what happens when you get out of your own shell, how different the world looks and feels, and how what feels very real and very solid becomes very clay-like and very malleable. And, I think that, like, one of the reasons why we do so much counseling where we change the whole environment for 30 days with someone is so that they can start seeing themselves differently. Because when you start seeing yourself differently, you start to realize that you aren't your identity. You aren't your thoughts. You aren't your mother's child. You aren't your name. You aren't any of these things.
No, exactly. Yeah, throw off the yoke and I am me. It's good to be me. You know what I'm saying? And so this is not grandiosity. It's it's ironic because 3 years ago I wrote down this I am me and I used it as a password with the other digits and stuff, and I got a memo. I am me. I'm not the son. I'm not the Navy guy. I'm not any of these other constructs. I'm just me. I'm a man with a heart and a soul, and I get to give it to the planet for free, and I get to intersperse with anybody I want on the planet and share the love. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Share the love,
Yeah, and with the human body comes the human ego. And I don't know if you've done a lot of work with the ego, but I certainly have. I had a big one. We're still working on it, but I look at the body, it's, people call it the mind, body, soul. I call it me, myself, and I, because it's really your universe. And, the I is the I am, is the center point, is the focused consciousness. It's the observer. And then the myself is the body, myself, my vehicle, my transportation, my lens. And then the me, I call it my ego, because it's my distorted version of who I think I am based on what society and family units have taught me to be. And that's where all the separation is. That's where and I'll tell you again, another thing I'm loving about this cannabis paste is that in energetically, what cannabis oil does, or paste does, to the human ego is it gives it a break. You don't have to play God, dude, right now. Chill out. You don't have to be in control. Take a break. And you know what happens is when the ego can take a break, then the I am, the creator, that is the whispering intuition, the first 3 seconds of your gut, that comes back and says, okay, now I'm gonna show you what's really going on. It's like, it's like being in the brain of just memorized knowledge and accessing Google. So it's a very big difference in as far as what I've seen people with this paste doing in conjunction with the healing process. Everybody needs to heal. Everybody needs to stop looking for a pill, from their doctor, and stop reading the next energy wave, energy X that's coming in, and just get back in and say, what do I believe about myself that isn't true? That's it. All this other stuff would go away. We're keeping the processed food, the $1 billion business. We are keeping the government there. We're keeping the monies there. And it's all because we don't believe we have the power to do it. So we have to go into the we, right? Yeah. And start going, what do I really believe about this? What would my life look like if we didn't have money? I do this. I do a emotional workshop where I have people sit around in a circle and we pretend that money's gone, and we go around the room and we go, okay, we're a community here, and all the money's gone, and now the grocery stores are closed because that's a money thing. So what are we going to do? And so we kind of go around the room and we ask, okay, so who knows how to plant food? Who knows how to build houses? Who knows how to teach kids? Who knows how to sew? Who knows how to work with technology? And every single workshop I've ever done, we have a whole community based on people being interested in what their soul's resonance pattern is and being able to build communities. So in my workshop, we would have been fine. Within 2 years, we would have had a little town and we would have had food and we would have been fine. And so that's the thing is it's really looking at fear in the face and saying, is this true? Do we even need this?
Right. Well, hey, there's a gentleman who just open source how to be self-sufficient on your own property. Take your hemp and turn it into brick and stuff like this. This guy's a genius. He put it out into the ether, open source. I think he's from Colorado. I think I'm going to be meeting with him because he gets it. He didn't put his value in selling something. He put his value in bringing it forward and open sourcing it to teach other people they could be self-sufficient. This is what it's sort of like natural news talks about stackable grows. It doesn't matter if you live in a city. You can do stackable grows, little hydroponics things, and grow dense nutrition right in your own apartment. All this other crap is just an excuse not to get off your butt and do something for yourself. I'll tell you, the people don't grab this bull by the horns. If the stores are all closed, like closing time, like the song "Closing Time," what are you gonna do? Sweetie, I know how to turn a mud puddle into distilled water. Do you? I mean, I learned.
Make a video. Please make a video for us because we're gonna need it.
It's simple. I know how to make a a rocket stove to cook my food, to do my water. All I need is 16 bricks, and I can make a rocket stove. Simple, stupid stuff like that nobody paid. Most people called useless information. Well, it becomes very useful when you don't have a clue how to keep your when you have no lights in the house. Well, hell, I think outside the box. I say, there's alternative sources for energy. Yeah, like those glow lights. Those what do they call them? You put them out in your front walkway. The glow lights that go off the sun.
Yeah. The solar panel lights?
Yeah, there's not solar panel. No. You stick them in the ground, sweetie, and the sun hits them. So, I think outside the box. I think like that. You go buy yourself about 20 of those just in case you might need a light source. Guess what? You're going to have a light source while everybody else in the neighborhood's dark. You're going to have a power outage for 2 weeks. It doesn't matter because every day the sun comes out and re-energizes your little glow lights. And you have, that's the way my brain thinks. A solution, simple solutions that anybody can do. But nobody really wants to go to this side of the fence because you know why? They're so used to it. It's always been here, and they can't think of it when it's not. See, I think, what if it's not here? What would I do? And like you said, where do you place your value? If there's no money, where is the value? The value is in us. We are the substance. We are source. And you know what? This is the hardest thing for most people to wrap their mind around. I don't need the money. So I had to go through this construct over 3 years, I believe, so that I knew that I needed to learn some life lessons over this 3 years. And it's been the best life lessons on the planet. And now I'm ready to go to the next level.
Yeah, and that's right. But like you said, people don't think outside of the box. But the thing is I don't think that anybody's doing it on purpose. I've never seen anyone who was ignorant that wasn't deep down afraid. So, the thing is the only enemy that we actually have is fear. Nothing else exists. Fear of information, fear of knowing ourselves. I would say a lot of people are afraid of their greatness. People are afraid to fail, but they're also afraid of their own light. And and that's the thing is I don't know if it's why I chose to be a woman this lifetime or what, but I love to help nurture people back into feeling safe, to look at their fear and realize that it's just the cloud effect. As they move closer to it, it doesn't exist. And really face all the fears. Because when you say life lessons, basically all that is manifesting, patterns over and over again until you finally learn your lesson. And you gotta, and I know too, being a mom, of 4 amazing kids, it's like the best way to learn is to jump right into the problem, and really you get to see what you're made of. You get to see where the solutions actually come from, the quantum field, and how magical we are when we actually have to look at challenges. I mean, I'm sure just like you, your greatest growth has come from your struggle, not from when things were good, not when things are easy, because we don't wake up when things are easy. We wake up when things are hard.
Yes. When you're bumping your head on that pipe every time you turn around and say, okay, that path is not a good path. I got to find another one. So this is, you know, it's just like, okay, the war on for the mind, going to fight against government, the constructs and all this. I pulled the plug 3 years ago. I don't fight with anybody. I just, I don't give up my power. I just, you know, how do you not go to you? How do you stop the insane train? Just quit giving it your power and pull the plug. And
well, are you giving it your power, or are you giving it your fear?
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing that keeps any of these people in office and in rule is our fear of our own truth.
Right. Now, I said this 3 years ago, if everybody consented off the voter rolls, the 535 whores up in Congress wouldn't have a job because there'd be nobody to legislate because they wouldn't have any slaves. Because what people don't understand is when you step into that construct, you've given over your power to this system for mere benefits and privileges, and you're looking for a daddy. Who is your daddy? Well, the government is your daddy. You stepped in, you let them be because you couldn't be self-run on your own power. You thought you needed something outside of yourself, just like the Social Security crap and all this other garbage they created in 1935 to get everybody on this give over your power construct. I don't give a crap about the money. I don't care, I don't care about Social Security. And I walked away from it like 20 years ago in my mind. I knew it was never going to be there. I didn't want it anyways because I didn't want that to be my control construct. Even though I did my time in the military and stuff like that, I don't get anything from the government. I don't want anything from the government because I'm self-sufficient in my own right. You can drop me in a drop zone somewhere and I'll be able to, I can fend for myself, sweetie.
But I will, that's good for you. But, if someone else, so take me. So if I wasn't aware and I didn't know that my thoughts created my reality, and I didn't know that I, generated my reality from my belief systems, and I have 4 kids, am I going to quit my job and go follow my purpose?
No. This is everybody's got to do their own walk. Everybody's got to lift their own water buckets on this game. Nobody can lift your water buckets for you.
Well, the thing is we're here to walk each other back to love.
Yep.
And so to me, my job is that, I've had people who pointed out my blind spots and helped me, and I point out other people's blind spots and help them until they can help themselves. So, I mean, that's the thing is compassion and service is we could actually really define of what love is. If love is actually like a verb itself, it's service. And when we're in service of others, we are demonstrating love. And when we go into that 5th dimensional community that's coming very soon, see, the timeline keeps changing when the money is going to fall, when the banks are going to crash. Yep. And it all comes down to, the 100 monkey effect and fear. So when the fear drops enough on the planet, that will basically be like a domino effect, and everything will start that we've been integrating for years. I mean, we have the new systems, we have the new energy, we have the new value points, we have everything set up. We're just waiting for, the fear to get low enough on the planet so that we can kind of make a mad rush. It's kind of like back in 2008 when the real estate market crashed, and someone came to me and said, what would happen if everybody just stopped paying their mortgage? Like, what would happen? Right? Well, there would probably be less homelessness. The banking systems would have crashed, and we would have been a lot further. Now, some people be like, oh my God, that's so irresponsible. And how could you do that? Well, I just, it's all perspective, because I look at all these empty homes and all these homeless people, and that doesn't add up either. No. So in all this food we throw away, and there's starving people. So it comes down to perspective of reality. And the thing is you don't have what you want in life because you're afraid. That's it. And as soon as you're not afraid anymore, you start to challenge your belief systems. You start to challenge your environment. You start to challenge the things that don't make you feel good about yourself and say, I deserve better. My self-worth is more than this. You don't get to treat me this way. And then guess what? Just like poof, the government's gone and the new systems are there. So we don't have to fight against anything. We just have to look within and look at where we're afraid.
I just brought up a song in my head. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. It'll do your heart some good. Who did that song? I know who did that song. Kenny Loggins. You can go figure. Anyways, sweetie, I always get a musical tie-in on this stuff.
That's your muse, huh?
I was a drummer and a lead vocalist, so I was sort of in that portal for a while. But I get everything through music, vibration and pitch. It's just intonation. But I always get musical memos. I love musical memos. It has told me a lot over the last 55 years on this planet.
It's how your higher self communicates to you.
Yep. Yep. I get to take. I really get to take star rides, Jefferson Starship and all. But I'm really excited because the chains have been broken. You know, most people don't realize they're holding up the chains through, like you say, the fear thing. But you know what? You have the power. The power is in you, and it's going to take a couple minutes for some. But I see the shift, and I believe 2016 is going to be one hell of a year.
It's going to be. I mean, just energetically, you know, I started doing these things called Second Sundays where I'm transmitting the information from the collective Christ consciousness grid and kind of bring in, you know, updates for the planet and, you know, let us all know where, you know, how far we've come, because that's the biggest thing is not how far we have to go, but how far we've come. I mean, look at what progress we've made in a year. Look at where we were in 2012 before the switch got flipped. Yep. And look at how fast we've been able to move. It's kind of like technology, you know. Just think about going back to college or high school for you and how did we make it through school without Google? You know, it's like, how did we do anything without Google? And now we have access to this information highway that's pretty much, you know, cosmic.
Well, speaking of cosmic, the information highway, I built the information highway. I think I told you I was building the trunk lines, the backbones of major cities, and I was actually tying in the light to the node, NODE, like sino-atrial node, source of light. I didn't realize I was a light worker back in the 90s, but I was actually building the system, and I'm not afraid of it. I like it because, you know what, we're all in the electromagnetic flow of this thing, and use it to your advantage. It's not. And I keep a hockey puck on it, so I don't have to worry about Wi-Fi too much. So it's like I know about Oregon energy and how to deflect negative energy. And anyways, I'm having fun.
That's the cool thing is you know, the truth is out there, and you know, and all ignorance comes from a place of fear. So at this point in the game, with the information that we have accessible, all the videos that you're posting, all the videos we're posting, you know, all of the free services that we do free PTSD healing for any veteran out there, any child in need. And, you know, we just broadcast it. We're celebrating Veterans Day today. And I believe that we're all veterans of this planet in some field or another.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all survivors, you know, if we made it this far with the contrast is beautiful. You know, as an artist, I'm in my office today and I have tons of art in here, but it's like, you can't have a beautiful picture without the contrast to make the light pop. So everything that seems dark and dense on the planet it's like our center stage. It's our opportunity to kind of bring forth what we came here to do as volunteers and part of the second coming. Anyone who's working in this light realm and this information realm is the second coming. And we're here to help the others wake up and show them the way and help them see their true power and their own potential, so that at the end of the day, we win. I mean, you know, we win. It's just, I know, like anybody else, you want it and you want it fast. You want to do it quick. You know, I say, oh, it's personal processing, but there's lots of ways we can go fast.
Oh, yes, sir. And I believe, I was just talking to a friend of mine because I do have a vision. I see things in a different perspective through fractals of light. The next 5 years is going to be a real fast ride, but it's going to probably take, for the total shift, probably a total of, you know, 15, 20 years. But that's nothing. That's a nanosecond. It's just we're in the here and now. But each day you patch a little bit further forward, because every day I get to build upon what I did the day before in the here and now. And next thing you know, you're on the other side.
Well, and the timeline keeps fluctuating based on people's thoughts. Yep. So the whole collective consciousness is based on what thinking and feeling is going on. So, you know, it's all about diversion. Best thing you could do is turn off your TV.
Yep.
You know, do your homework, do your research, search for your truth, question everything you think, and choose thoughts that make you feel empowered, not disempowered. Find technology like the stuff we're doing here. You can find it online. The reason I do like the technology we're using versus the traditional binaural beats is that we're working also to support the nervous system. And the nervous system is, when I look at it energetically, it's a central command system between Mother Earth and the cosmos. So it is the phone line. And when you're stuck in fight or flight, you don't have access to universal knowledge. You're stuck in the memory pattern of survival, which is the primal energy of the planet. And that is a lot of fear. That's a lot of panic.
Yeah.
So when we can move that system out of fight or flight back into parasympathetic nervous system, we get everything calmed down, then the mind can get reprogrammed, or the brain can get reprogrammed like that, and the mind can open up to the cosmetic Akashic records and quantum field, so that we can access how to bring in all this technology even faster.
Well, like I say, I'm gonna post the awakening attaching links when we do this and it gets processed. I will have the awakenings because it's talking about everything you were talking about. I said when I went through those, since we talked last, I said Sister Jessica's a real light worker because she got all the memos, and I was really impressed because I mean, most of the stuff I've already known too. It's the truth with both barrels. It's the truth on steroids. So nothing really blew me away. I knew it just helped you put all the pieces of the puzzle together and how it all ties in. So it gave me a lot more clarity. Anyways, when you talked about the telephone line, I thought I was thinking electric light orchestra. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's true though. You know, people feel very detached from, you know, some people say, help me connect with my higher self. And then I say, okay, let me get you out of fight or flight. There's no connection needed. It's just the energy can't move between basically here and the root when you're in fight or flight. So it just cycles, and therefore you're having thoughts of worry, you're having thoughts of panic, you're having all these thoughts, and you can't access the quantum field of possibilities. It's like Einstein says, you can't be in the solution and the problem at the same time.
Right.
You have to shift perspectives. So the body is going to make or break what you're able to think. If you're in fight or flight, you're in survival mode. You can't learn anything new if you're in survival. And I'll tell you, most people who have had traumatic childhoods or witnessed divorce or witnessed some sort of change early on between the ages of 0 and 7 are in chronic fight or flight. And so their system just becomes the new normal. You know, and I'll say that if you have this, what you're experiencing is chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue, you know, chronic worry. Even when things are going good, you're that person who thinks the rug's going to get pulled out from underneath you. You know, you're in worst case scenario, not best case scenario. Manifestations, you have manifestations of accidents and job loss and traumas, and that's what chronic fight or flight looks like in the energy field. So it's not something that you need to go and take a pill for. It's something that you actually need to go back and heal the programming of the first 7 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
That's when all the core belief systems are made, the first 7 years.
Well, it's ironic. I'm here on the planet. I'm in this nucleus of 3 females right now who are all in the same programming. They need some deprogramming. So, I'm here for a reason for a minute, so I'm well aware. So I'm doing a little bit of heavy lifting here.
Yeah, and what do you mean by that?
Well, trying to reconstruct what they're taking in. I can't get them to unplug from Dancing with the Stars. Anyways, but we talk about the microwave, and my ex is doing a very good job. She's actually reading stuff that's actually changing the paradigm. She's actually internally starting to eat much better. So I'm real impressed. She's paying attention. So I'll have to work on the 2 younger ones as I go, I guess.
Well, and you know what? As far as, you know, people still doing the things that bring them relief, you know, good for them. Because at the end of the day, you know, Abraham Hicks talks about relief. And, you know, sometimes when you don't know what to do, or what, you don't have tools to change your reality, or you don't know that you are in control of creating your own reality, relief is a good place to get to that center point. So, I mean, a lot of people numb out with TV. And, you know, I actually shot a video about microwaves and how it changes the DNA construction of the food. So you're technically not eating food, you're eating something else. And, it's just like people go, oh my gosh, how am I going to live without meat? How am I going to live without a microwave? I said, it just takes practice. How did you learn how to do anything?
Yeah, I think they had Pyrex glass dishes back before the microwave came out.
And you know what? The thing is that the adult attention span is 6 seconds now. So that's the thing, is thinking about losing a microwave. What, I actually have to like warm up the oven. And
I do it all the time. I
don't have time. And that's the thing, is practicing mindfulness. That's a perfect, I say, okay, that's your meditation time. The time for your spaghetti to warm up, that's your meditation time. The whole 10 minutes.
Right, to create a double down effect where they're accomplishing two things at the same time. Excellent. I like that. That's creating a solution.
Right. Everything is solution based. I mean, that's the thing, is quantum physics is described as where your focus is basically what you're creating. So am I focused in the amount of time it's taking to watch paint dry, or what can I do in this 5-minute period to, increase and expand my reality? I know I can listen to a YouTube. While I'm cooking my dinner, instead of nuking my dinner, I could listen to a whole YouTube video. I could put some music on. And music is another great way for us to heal and repair PTSD.
Yes.
Because music has the power to music is the soundtrack of our lives.
Yes.
So it how you listen to that song and it all of a sudden takes you back to junior high.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes that's a good experience. Sometimes that's a bad experience, but we can use it to heal very quickly.
I was taking a journey with Journey. I mean, they put me in a nice love vibration. I love Journey. And so I woke up, I step out for a couple minutes and I go get grounded for a second because I wake up the thoughts. And then I say, okay, where are we going today? And then I come back in and I'll press play because I'm always posting. I'm always doing information, copying and pasting and stuff. I like to be in the music because it helps my vibration and gets a lot more done. So I'm accomplishing killing two birds with one stone, and at the same time enjoying myself. It's not just a mundane task.
Yeah. One of the things that I ask everybody who comes in here is, how much of your day is actually spent in joy?
Yep.
Because joy is the resonance of your higher self. It's the frequency of your higher self. And if you are in joy, I say at least 51% of the day needs to be spent in joy. I truly believe 99.999% needs to be joyful.
Right.
But, when you still believe that you have commitments, and you believe that you have to keep your job, and you believe that you have to stay in that horrible relationship, you have to find time for joy, and that will help shift the balance of your existence very quickly. But that's where we find a lot of interesting belief systems, because most people don't believe they deserve to be in joy. They believe they should do something. Like, why I can't go listen to that, watch that movie I want to watch because there's laundry to do, or there's, there's work I need to do, or there's housework, or there's yard work, or whatever. And then I always say that, when you start focusing on joy and you start playing more, all those things get taken care of somehow.
They do. It's like magic, right? I like to do some physical stuff, so I get to do my power walks. If I kill two birds, one stone, I always tune up. I'm always getting my vibration up. And even if I've got to go, sometimes it's a little arduous just laying in the sand for hours,
that's tough.
I like to get my vitamin D.
That's really tough, Peter.
Well, sometimes I want to hear tunes, but sometimes I just want to hear the waves. I just want to feel the vibration of the planet, and I'll just listen to the waves. But, I've always got to get from here to there. It's like 2.5 miles. So in between, I like to tune up because it makes the walk much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing, too, I can recommend right now with the energy on the planet is get around water. If water, if some reason water is traumatic for you, you don't need to be in water, but you need to be near water. Have a water feature in your home, be around a body of water. Right now, it is extremely healing, cleansing. The sun right now, between the hours of like 9 and 10 a.m. and 2 and 3 p.m. are going to have the biggest downloads coming to us. Yep. So we're going to be able to get the bulk of our information for our new the new information that's coming in as far as the shift between that hours. And the only place we're getting that is the sun. So we need to be there. Even when the weather's not great, we need to get outside and connect with that oneness, the nature, which is, that's That's where all the info is coming.
Yeah, it's ironic because from like 2 to 3 today, I was actually outside in the sun. I did a little bit of weights, but I got on the broom because we have these acorn trees all over the darn place, and they keep dropping and shedding, you know. So every day I get on a broom and I go sweep up acorns. It's not because I have to; it's because I want to. I like the physical. I like doing physical. Now, I like something, just listening to music, enjoying what I'm doing. It's just divesting myself of some energy, but I'm also grounding at the same time. So I usually take my shoes off because it's warm enough here.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing you can ask yourself is, you know, how do my daily interactions get me to live the life that I want to live?
Yeah.
Like, what is your daily routine? Does it get you, is it expanding your life or contracting your life?
Right.
The food that you're eating, is it expanding or contracting?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, and that's the thing is getting people back into awareness. To me, the root cause of suffering and pain is lack of awareness. It's like once you become aware of something, you actually have the choice to shift your perspective. You don't have to keep that same perspective. It's kind of like, you know, when someone is an extreme panic attack, when they come into my office, all I do is take them into gratitude. Just 3 minutes of gratitude and some belly breathing all the way down to the core. 5 belly breaths take the brain out of fight or flight. So 5 deep breaths and some gratitude, and we've completely, basically, we've done a parallel jump. We've shifted into a completely different reality where things are not, you know, dire and meek. They're expansive and wonderful.
Yeah, you sort of diffuse and ground the energy instead of it being into a hyper negative circuit. You actually bring it back to, like you say, center. Get them back to center somehow.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, when your computer's acting up. You know, what is our natural idea? Oh, let's just unplug. When we unplug the computer and plug it back in, 90% of the time it works again.
Yeah.
That's what we do when we go back to the center point, is we literally unplug from the matrix. And for that moment, everything is just authentic. That unique oneness perspective. Then we plug in. When we plug back in, we have choice. Because before we unplug, we're on that circuit. We're in the program. We don't even know we're in the program. We think that it's real. We think that reality is real. And when we unplug, we're like outside of the hologram for a moment. Then we plug back in to go play. We can go, okay, now how do I want to look at this? Do I want to look at this negatively? Do I want to look at this positively? We have the choice, but we have to take a step back. I always say, and you'll appreciate this, that a song wouldn't be a song. If you looked at music notes, there has to be a space between music notes.
Octaves.
And we are the space between the music notes. We are the space between the action. And without the space between the music notes, the song would not sound, it wouldn't be a song. So it's getting the space in between so that we can make the new choice. So that when you hear the influx of music up and down, it's the space that makes it beautiful.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Matter of fact, in the Awakenings, in that 8 construct of the Awakenings, they actually cover vibration, pitch, the notes and octaves, and it's beautiful. Yeah, if you've not seen the Awakenings, I'll make sure to get you that link. Incredible continuity of flow, creating the portals for your mind to go through to get how this all ties in, and it's really beautiful. And it is all about the thoughts and grounding and the power and coming back into that right vibration.
Well, another thing you can do too is literally set your clock every 15 minutes on your phone, and every 15 minutes check in with yourself and say, where are my thoughts? What am I thinking about? What am I doing? And just to get cognitive awareness of where the heck your thoughts are. Because most people say, I think positively. If your manifestations prove otherwise, you're not thinking positively.
Right.
You know, you might have a positive thought, but you might have negative mind chatter constantly, and your reality will reflect that.
Well, it's funny, I get to play with my family members because I get 22'd all day long, and I will actually get their attention and say, hey, what time is it? And they know exactly where I'm going. It's not like I stand at the dance and I have the stove, the microwave, and the Wi-Fi clock all three come in continuity and give the 22 at the same time. So I get to play with their mind a little bit. See, they don't understand the power of 22. They don't understand that's about the consciousness shift. Anyways, I'm going to send my daughter the link on the 22s and get her to understand the power numbers. I get 22 to death my entire life, and it happens all day long. And it's just so funny.
Now that's my number too.
Beautiful. Well, yeah. Well, you're part of the consciousness. Yeah. Look what you're doing. Hello, McFly.
Yeah, that's been my number. Yep, for sure.
22. Beautiful. Well, we're here to make our dent on the well. Look at we're on the CCN, Conscious Consumer Network. Go figure. But you have to be conscious to get it.
Well, you gotta be semi-conscious. You know, yeah. I mean, just think about where you are consciously. You might have thought you woke up last year. Look at where you are today in comparison to how much more you're awake now. So most people think, oh, I woke up. No, that's like a newborn. You know, you got to learn to walk. You got to learn to talk. You got to learn to assimilate information. You got to see. The thing is, I meet spiritual people all the time that know way more than I do, but they don't walk it.
Right.
They don't live it. They don't breathe it. They're just, kind of regurgitating universal information. But I always look at what you're manifesting with your time management, your health, your wealth, and your relationships, because that will determine where you are actually injecting your spiritual knowledge into your real reality. You know, because you're not supposed to suffer. This time and space is not about suffering.
No.
It's about transcending. It's about transcending anything that's not love within your being into light. That's it. That's our only job for the rest of this lifetime that we spend here is what's dark about me? What do I believe that's untrue? Where is there a lack of love within my energy field, and how can I transcend it? What tools do I have? So whether it's PACE, whether it's brain reentrainment, whether it's coaching and workshops and reading books and meditating, and there's a billion other ways that you can do it. It's just what action steps are you taking?
And I look at a lot of the planets, the light is on and nobody's home. We're going to help them come back home. And guess what? Home is where the heart is. Yeah, I get the vibration. It's all, when we get the vibration, when we get the neuron transmitters firing right, then all of a sudden you start feeling again. And when you start feeling again, then the heart comes back online. And that's what we just say, 10,000 times stronger or 100,000 times stronger than the gut or whatever. The heart's 100,000 times stronger than the brain. So anyways, see, you got to get out of your mind to get into your heart. That's what I say.
And the thing is the road to your heart, there is a dark tunnel. And the thing is we've been disconnected from our truth and our heart for so long that we've built layer and layer and layer of shadow. And the reason that people take medicine is so they don't feel.
Yep.
So what I've noticed is the scariest place for people to be on this journey is when they make a firm intention to start feeling the feelings that are coming up, and they're not always good. They're not always loving.
Wow.
And the thing is that's part of the journey is to feel everything.
Yes.
But that's why, when we have the hemp oil and we have the nervous system calm down, it's not going to throw you into complete darkness or a panic. It's going to be more like you're sitting with a child in need, and you're going to be able to just embrace that hurt part of yourself and sit with yourself and heal yourself instead of, oh my gosh, these feelings, all these dark feelings are coming up within me. I don't want to feel this. Let's push it down. Let's push it down. That's exactly what we're doing in the ascension process is we are transcending all of our own darkness in light. So the path to the heart is, I always say, there's a mindfulness teacher who teaches at Yale University. And for the first semester of his workshops that he teaches on mindfulness, he makes his students study fairy tales. And the reason why is because if you look at all fairy tales, there's always some sort of darkness that needs to be faced in order to get to the prince or to home. And so it's very symbolic of what we're going through as far as our transition right now I just kind of say it, the spiritual journey is messy and sticky and scary and at times lonely. And so our job is, what tools do we have to support ourselves on the journey back home? You know, what do we have to feel safe? Who do we have to feel safe? What information makes us feel safe?
Yeah.
You know, and that's why when you surround yourself with a bunch of people who don't support your spiritual journey and make you feel crazy, then you're just kind of reiterating your whole PTSD trauma of you not being allowed to be authentic.
Exactly. And that's why I come back into I call this my bat cave, my nucleus, and that's why I will lay down. I will do some vibration work. I will always try and expand my mind and my heart, and listening to like I say, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and there's others, Bruce Lipton, people that help bring my resonance to the other side. And I usually spend at least 2 hours each day of trying to find some grounding point and watch something that brings me into focus with the next level of where I'm going with all this.
Yeah. So where are you going with this?
We're going to the other side. We're going wherever we want. That's where we're going.
Where are you feeling pulled right now?
Yeah, geographically.
No, just, I mean, intuitively, like what direction are you projecting your focus?
The alternative, fixing the machine, because I've been trying to work with the mind over at Privatis.Me, and people aren't quite, so we gotta fix the body, because until the body gets righted, I can't get to here because the circuit's all screwed up. We gotta fix the circuit. So we gotta get
I'm right there with you.
We got to get the body back into homeostasis so the mind and the heart can reconnect and recomplete the circuit, and we can move heaven and earth then. There we go.
And that's exactly where I am. And it's so funny because this time last year, it was all about, you know, the mind and spirituality and, you know, other dimensions. And now it's like, what? We're focused on the body again? But it's because it's time to upgrade. It's time to clean house. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got the memos. I mean, you know, because I've been for 3 years, I've been trying to get to the mind, and I started out on the right. That's why I teach the mind, body, spirit. I gave okay, we're gonna revisit where we need to go again. So I have to revisit this, because until I can get through this, we're not getting anywhere else, and I already know it. So guess what? Sometimes I got to bump my head for a little while before I got to rework the memo and say, okay, do you get it now, Peter? You're stubborn.
Right. I know we are stubborn, but you know, that's how we learn. So by, you know, doing over and over again until we get it from every different perspective, because learning comes not just from knowing, but applying.
Yes.
And there's a process that happens in the brain when you actually learn something, and it's a left and a right hemisphere connection, and there's a spark that happens in the middle. And as soon as that happens, which basically, you know, visualization and playing your hands in the clay of actually doing it creates wisdom, not knowledge.
Right.
Because just seeing something, words don't teach, that doesn't create wisdom. It's the practicing of the application that's learned that creates the wisdom. And from that perspective is where we need to be teaching from, not knowledge anymore. Because the worst thing to do is to start following someone who you really hold on a pedestal as far as a teacher, and then, you know, find out that they're not walking their talk. So it's all about creating the healthy example at this point. And so I do, obviously I'm working on my own stuff, so there's no perfection here. But, you know, and I think that it's important for all of us leaders out there, or teachers out there, to constantly be sharing our own stories of victory and failures, because I think that it makes us relate. And, you know, it's less like, for me, this last couple of years has all been about relationships and healing relationships and the relationship with myself. And, you know, you think when you start off this journey, oh, if I just figure out how to manifest money, everything will be great. And you realize that that is not at all the root of the problem. So I think as us going through our own stuff, that's the heart-based teaching that's coming out of it, is, you know, like watching Dr. Dyer go through what he went through and then transcending finally, and it being his choice completely to go. It's like, that's so inspiring to watch. And the other wonderful people that have left us to work on the other side of the shift, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to work on the other side right now than it is to be here. This is the ground. This is the ground crew. This is the boot camp, right?
Yeah. We're the front lines to bring it forward. That's it. We're gonna bring it forward, and those that want to come play, they can come play. Those that are ready, that's fine too. But everybody travels their own path. And so, like I say, we have folks, and that's what I like to say is, you know what, I'm just sort of a messenger. I'm just a conduit on this planet. My only function is to bring us others together. And I've got, you know, I've had a beautiful ride this last 10 months here on CCN, you know, with, you know, Troy Hippa, Ty Bollinger, a multitude of others who really get it. Brother Bradley Love. I mean, all these people I get to, and every topic, I don't think there's really not too many topics I haven't been able to cover, because there's no portal we can't go through, because we really have to sort of go through them all, but they're not real complex. We just have to let it go and go with the flow a little bit. So we got to, that's why I know I got to come back to the body, because I'm seeing the whole planet. I walk down to the beach and I see nothing but zombies, and I'm saying, my God, their circuits are all compromised. I says, and okay, I need to do something different. And that's where I come to ground zero. When I don't know how I found you. I forget how did I find you?
I don't even know. I don't ever worry about that stuff.
No, but it happened.
Everybody always connects. Everybody always finds exactly what they need. So,
right.
You know, it's been a good platform for us, because, you know, us being smacked right in the middle of Kansas, it's kind of like me coming from the West Coast. It's like such a bigger voice out there, and you come here and you're like, oh, what can I do in Kansas? And then you're like, oh, whatever I want, because we have the internet. You know, we can talk to as many people as we want and educate as many people as we can, because at the end of the day, you know, we got workshops full here, and you'd be surprised, this Bible Belt here in the Midwest, how awake we are, and how it's like literally where the pebble drops in the water and it spreads, and getting to see all of this amazing spiritual work that people are doing here in Kansas and everywhere else. And the thing is for us to not notice the zombies, but to notice those awake, and you know, connect and create community and build on each other. And, you know, because the thing is we don't need to worry about the sleepwalkers.
No.
Viral awakening is how it's moving through. So eventually, you know, I think they said in November of 2016, a third of the planet will be awake. A third. Wow. So that's 1 year from today or now. So that means that a third of the planet is going to need our help. So that means that we better be walking our talk, so that we're in good mental, physical, and emotional shape to support those questions that are coming. Because it's just like, I have a 2-year-old, and he says to me, why?
Yeah.
Why? It's so funny, because he just started doing it. Well, he's going to be 3 this weekend, but and it's just so funny. At 3 years old, he's questioning the universe, and I love it, you know. And it's funny, because at this age, I have a 20-year-old, and I'm sure the why questions were different back then, but now I'm literally trying to answer them in a kind of God perspective. You know, like the why questions, I'm not just saying because I said so, you know.
Right. That's the crap we got. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when he says why, I'm like, well, that's a great question. Let's figure that out, you know. And it's like, I'm learning from him, because he's questioning. So as this viral awakening happens, we're going to get the why questions. You know, why is the government doing this? Why is the food being poisoned? Why is this? And that's the thing is the newborns are asking, and we have to, instead of saying, you know, because we're being manipulated, because we just say,
no.
It's coming from a place of fear, and when you release it, it doesn't exist.
Exactly. No, you can let it go. Anyways, the upside is I got to walk through all the portals on, I call it lifting those rocks and looking up underneath, which most people are afraid to do. There were some dark years, you know, back, 15 years ago, when I was pulling all this stuff back. I mean, I was going into psychogenic shock. I couldn't believe the crap I was finding. I said, is it really this corrupt? Like with the bonds in court, and you're just a hypothecation event, and they actually are drafting you for performance when you walk in. I mean, I got to uncover all this stuff, and it was really mind-blowing. And I said, this is really nefarious crap, but it's no different than them putting benzene in the clothesline now, and the clothes on the planet. But there's a solution. Sister Barbara from Enviro Textiles, which I got to meet a year ago. Do you think she was put in my path, the hemp textiles queen on the planet, who worked 21 years in China teaching them how to do hemp textiles, and I meet her in Glenwood, Colorado by happenstance? Do you think that's a coincidence?
No such thing as coincidence.
That's right.
Only synchronicities.
Yes.
All synchronicities.
So it's really, really neat, this ride because I know all these beautiful conduits across the planet who are in all these other portals, and now we're all pulling together. So it's an orchestra. Yeah, I got my wand out. The orchestra. It's just an orchestra. So we're all going to get tuned up together.
Well, and you know what? And the funny thing is if you realize that what we're all passionate about is we're all passionate about different things, but when we bring it together, it's one answer. Yep. So it's kind of like I never thought that that my early childhood abuse would bring me to have such a deep compassion level for helping other people with trauma. And, you know, to me, if I can help, I know my soul song. I believe everybody has a soul song. So whether your theme is self-love, love, my soul song is freedom. And anything that I can help someone create more freedom in their life, whether it's freedom of financial stress, freedom of body stuff, freedom of, self-worth issues, freedom of judgment, freedom of time. Freedom is literally, to me, what my very essence is on the planet. Yep. I'm a permissionalist. My job is just to give someone else permission to be authentic and show them that fear doesn't exist once they actually look at it in the mirror, Yeah. And I always embrace people to find their soul song and what they're fighting for. I mean, what is it you're doing here? What is it that gets your desire going crazy? And that's usually what your soul song is all about.
Yeah, what lights your spirit up, your source? What brings it to the fray? So okay, and then it comes down to that's called living life on purpose. Because when you find that side of yourself, what gives you that passion to move to the next level, and you can run with it, then you get to go live life on purpose. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. But the thing is anyone who's not living on purpose, why? Because they don't believe they have a choice.
Right.
Or they don't believe they can do it, or they don't believe they're worthy. So belief, when you decode that word belief, it means being the lie. So you're being the lie. You're walking, talking, generating the field of the lie. So you challenge your beliefs. So anything you can do to challenge your belief is going to set you free.
Wow. Free, set them free. Police. Sting. Yeah. Anyways.
You're like the Rain Man of music.
Now I got to tell you a story. Okay. My last contract I did, it was at a power plant. Go figure, I worked at a power plant. And because I could do Rain Man really good, Dustin Hoffman.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, and they actually on my raincoat wrote Rain Man on the back of that thing. So I walk around, amongst all the pipe and stuff, and there goes Rain Man. Anyways, but I'm a good driver. Kmart sucks. I got upstairs with my pancakes. Walker's on at 3:30. Yeah, I'm a good driver. Anyways, I used to do that up on the yard, and they drive. So I actually got named Rain Man.
That's so funny. Well, yeah, I get that for sure. You know what though? It's all cool how we connect with our own truth.
Yeah.
It's like it makes us unique.
Yeah.
It makes us unique for sure. So that's exciting. So today's Veterans Day, so we're celebrating basically all of our survivors and our warriors out there, and our indigos and from what I've seen is a lot of our second generation indigos, which is probably going to be in your late 30s to 50s right now. Anybody who's out there, indigo warrior, that's dealing with alcoholism or addiction, please reach out, because addiction goes hand in hand a lot of times with our indigos, our generation, because talk about having that warrior spirit and being so darn empathic that that the addiction is a natural numbing agent for how to feel. So we're doing a ton of work with addiction too right now, and we're really having some amazing success. So please reach out to us if anybody's going through that or having some serious PTSD.
Yeah, well, might as well face it. We're addicted to love. Robert Palmer.
Oh my goodness.
See, now that's not a bad addiction to have, addiction to the love. And I'm not talking about sexual. I'm talking about energetic. Yeah, I guess. But anyways, just a thought.
So let me ask you, Peter, what is your definition of love?
Standing in your true light and being you, just being you, and then being in that light, and somebody lets you be in that light. I mean, not that I'm not looking for permission for anybody to be in my light, but when I'm in a realm or within another spirit, and we're communicating, so socially interspersing, and I just get to be me, and in that here and now, that's what it's all about. And I don't know.
And it's nice when someone can recognize that. So to me, that is the circuit of love, is when you get to be authentic and you connect with someone who recognizes that and loves you back for it. And therefore there is like this completion of the circuit of,
yes,
this particular planet is based in relationships. It's a relational ship. It's a relations. So it's like you're having a relation with everything, like, you
Yep.
know, and I always say, where can you be completely authentic in your relations? You know, and you're relating to money, you're relating to your body, you're relating to the environment, you're relating to your job. Where in those places can you be fully authentic?
Right.
It's
In
very
nature,
cool.
in nature. I mean, but the birds. Remember, I was telling you about the birds, the doves. Remember, I was telling you about the doves over when I was in not Lake Jackson, but over in Colorado. I had 3 doves that come visit me. That I was in nature. I had Peter Rabbit come visit me, and I was out and I was listening to the birds sing, and I guess that's where I can really be authenticate. But I know you're talking socially in the spiritual realm of our other brothers and 2-legged brothers and sisters on the planet, I guess.
Well, you know, it doesn't have to be people. I mean, love is basically the recognition of the soul.
Yeah.
So if, you know, and that's why so many light workers and so many volunteers are so passionate about animals. I mean, I know 100 different people that much prefer the company of animals and nature than they do to people.
Right.
You know, so regardless, love is love. You know, it's just, where is it recognized and where is it received? Where is it authentic and where is it unconditional? So that word is like crazy to me, because unconditional without conditions.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really, how many things do you unconditionally love? You know, to me, I love asking myself these questions, because this brings me to face all of my own judgments. You know, like, what is my relationship with, you know, to money? What is my relationship to my body? And as a woman, you know, it's just like, you know, we have babies and our bodies change, and we can have a lot of judgment towards ourselves. And, you know, I would say that a lot of women come to me and don't have a clue of what self-love looks like.
Right.
You know, self-love is basically taking care of everybody around them, you know, and sure that everybody else's needs is met, and that's not coming from a place of self-love.
No.
So, you know, a lot of times, a lot of this stuff is not awareness; it's lack of awareness. So when we can ask ourselves the big question, like, oh, what is my relationship to this? So, you know, and all my workshops that I do, it's all about taking stock. I don't ever ask anybody to take score, because when you take score, that's judgment.
Yep.
But taking stock, like, where am I? Who am I? What am I? Is any of that true? You know,
you just gave me some really good insight. You know what? Everybody needs some me time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got some. I just got a memo for my ex that I can help her get her some me time, because she has the most difficult time taking her me time.
Right. And that's coming from a place of, I don't deserve it, you know, and it's coming from a place of, well, if I take care of everybody else will love me, you know, because I don't know how to love me. And that goes back to a lot of the nurturing work that we do here at Transcendence. You know, we're all about teaching you how to love yourself and nurture yourself and care for yourself. And basically everything that you need from someone else, we teach you how to give it to yourself, because no one is ever going to take care of you and love you the way that you're going to love you.
Wouldn't that fall under the parameters of to thy own self be true?
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's also coming from a place of the first 7 years. What did we learn love looked like?
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about this. And I just talked about this at Second Sundays. It's like that first year of life, you're completely fed and supported and doted over and admired, and you're not in, it's not entitlement, it's deserving. You're completely in the essence of nurturing and love. And then as soon as your brother or sister get born, or you get a little older, all of a sudden now all of your attention and nurturing is conditional. Like, if you're a good girl, I'll hug you, right? If you're a good girl, you get a cookie. And a year ago, every need was being met. So it's like the ultimate in trauma is going from a place of being completely supported and loved without any, without doing anything in return.
Conditional love and conditional responses. Like Pavlov's dog, for crying out loud. Really?
Right. So as children, we learn, okay, well, when I do this, I'm not lovable. And when I do this, I'm lovable. And so any woman who grows up and starts taking care of everyone learned that in order to receive love, she had to go take care of everyone, And so, again, that's a belief system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, we got to work in the being the lie. We got to work in the belief systems, what love looks like to you, And that's why I asked you what your definition of love was, because a lot of people would say, well, I show love by taking care of others, right? That's not love. That's enabling,
Yeah. Wow. This is deep.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we do at Transcendence. It's not just about throwing you on the mind fit and clearing your mind out.
Right.
It's about getting you to sit with yourself and ask yourself the really important questions about what you believe about yourself. Because it doesn't matter what you believe about the government. It doesn't matter what you believe about your neighbor. It only matters what you believe about yourself.
Yeah, they're not living in your head. They're not living in your body. Well, yeah, they are living in your head if you let them.
Well, technically, they're just a reflection of you because this is a hologram.
Right.
So,
exactly.
When we look at the projections of others, we're looking at ourselves. So when someone's mad at us and we don't understand, there's probably something within ourselves that we're angry with about ourselves. Because no one can ever react with in your energy field that's not first alive within you, because everything is just, it's law of resonance, it's law of reflection. The universe is just one big mirror.
Well, the whole planet's pissed off at me, sweetie. What the hell?
Well, okay, so where are you pissed off at you?
I'm just
a counseling session.
No, very good, very good. No, I think I'm just coming from a position that you know what, I don't fit in most people's paradigm, because what I speak of is how do you put it offends somebody. I offend somebody every day. I guess if I'm not offending, it's not my objective to offend. I just run with who I am, but I never go out of my way with malice and a forethought and bad intent to hurt anybody's feelings on the planet.
No, I think you need to shift your perspective of how you see yourself. You're on the cutting edge. You're on the leading edge. And anyone who's on the leading edge is going to be running and living in a way where you're not fearless and you don't care what other people think, and you're living off your own discernment and you're being authentic. And the reason that might piss somebody off is because they have forgotten how to do that.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, I'm not the most popular person in the world either, and I think I'm a pretty nice person. So, it's like people either are inspired by me or they hate me. So, and I used to take that really personally when I started getting myself out there, and I'm like, I actually have haters. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm just a mom, like I'm not trying to hurt any, but the thing is they're not afraid of what we're saying. They're afraid of the fact that we've challenged our own belief systems, and the fact that they're
not doing anything to change theirs. Because if they don't like what they're seeing with us, then then they don't want to have to go look in the mirror and say, well, he's making all these changes, doing all this stuff, and I'm not doing anything to get off my ass. So he's such a dork. And they'll find something to say bad about you because they don't want to look within themselves to why they're not doing anything. It's just like, okay, it's like all the ones in the light working field saying, oh, we're just going to sit on our ass and wait for somebody else to do it. I say bull crap. I says, your intent without an action means absolutely nothing.
I agree. And you know what? That statement, because of the passion and the way that we see that, that can be portrayed as arrogance. That can be portrayed as even narcissistic. But at the end of the day, people who love themselves are considered narcissistic too. And I have a pretty good, I mean, I've come from the depths of hell within myself.
Yep.
And so the love that I have for myself is pretty humble these days. You know, it's like work in progress, but I'm really proud of where I've come.
Yeah,
I'm really proud of what I'm doing. I'm proud of my actions every day. And am I perfect? Hell no.
Nope.
Do I still have lessons? Yeah. Do I still get triggered? Yeah. You know, am I still a work in progress? Absolutely. But you know what? The thing is I have overcome a ton of things. And if I can help 5-6 people do the same thing, then I can die happy.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is when you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there to be viewed by positively or negatively.
Yep.
We don't have the choice. So if someone's negative, they're going to see us negatively. If someone's positive, they're going to see us positively. It's not has nothing to do with us. We don't need to take any of that personally. You're
right, and that's the hardest. That's the hardest part that I've had to learn to deal with because of that 18 years of programming. Yeah, you take everything personal, especially when somebody's throwing turds across your front desk for the first 18 years trying to steal your spirit.
Yeah, I know. And you know, the thing is I think that as volunteers, we chose that path.
Yeah.
So we could dive down into the darkness, so we could dive down in density, so we could dive down into the contrast, so that when we actually did become the light workers or the way showers, we would understand the human condition. We could understand suffering. We could understand challenges. Yep. And we have a roadmap because we physically pulled ourselves out.
Yes.
So none of it's been in vain. It's all been divine. It's all been important. All the suffering, all the challenges, it was part of the mission. You know, it's like, you know, when you go in the military, the first, 2-3 years, you're like, the you is beaten out of you.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of relearn that. So I call childhood the ultimate boot camp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely. Because, you're told, do this, don't do that. Can't you read the signs, you know?
Right. Don't be that. Don't say that. Don't feel that. Don't eat that.
Yeah.
Don't play with that. And it's funny because you're like going, well, then who am I? Because everything inside of me wants to go study rocks or, go, meditate.
Get creative. Get creative.
Yeah, I know. Well, and most of us who are awakened, we've always been awake. We've just been, lost in that density, playing out the game of suffering with the rest of us,
Yeah, it's probably we're just in a temporary holding pattern along the way until we got to where we needed to get to open the door the rest of the way.
But think about it. If you would have come in completely enlightened, you would have absolutely no basis for teaching.
No concept, right? Exactly. No concept of empathy, feeling the heart of it. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're right.
You wouldn't understand the human condition because technically star seeds are from the future. Come back, to help basically mankind. I know this sounds very Star Trekky, but they basically come back in time to help prophecy unfold where we win and not lose.
Right.
And this time we're bringing we're bringing the cheat codes back. I always say it, we're bringing the new frequencies in to kind of be the cheat codes. So we don't have to play out another 300,000 years in darkness before we wake up.
Right.
We're being so supported. I mean, our star families are here,
Yeah.
like, the big UFO that went, where was it? LA on the 15th.
Yep.
And it's funny because it's like, really, people are still surprised when they see that stuff. It's like, that's so common now. Disclosure is full effect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I know. I get it. But it's an anomaly to most that are asleep. See, that's where we gotta. That's why we're gonna help heal the machine, and we're gonna change up this construct. We're gonna get a nice multiplication factor coming real soon. I already see it.
Well, and it's just doubling down, everything. It's 100 monkey effect at this point. One person wakes up, it wakes up 100,000. So it's like, you can't stop it at this point.
No.
So where we need to be is we need to be in education. We need to be in, okay, we need to be there to answer all the baby why questions.
Yeah.
And to give solutions and tools and teach people how to walk in the new energy and be authentic and not buy into the belief systems that they're programmed with.
And then when you stop answering all the why questions, then they start asking why not, because there's nothing you can't do. See that? I'm the why not guy. Everybody says, I love it when people tell me I can't do something. I really do. Jessica, you want to press my buttons the hardest? Tell me I can't do something. I get this extra energetic boost because now I'm pissed off, but it's not. But then I redirect that negative energy into positive energy because I'm going to show the other side of the coin that there's nothing that we can't do.
Absolutely, and you know, I love that emotion, anger, because it's a projective emotion. It helps you shift out of powerlessness.
Apathy. It's a catalyst to get off your ass and make a difference. Okay, now I'm pissed off. Okay, you said I couldn't do this. I'm going to prove up different. Not that I have anything to prove to anybody, but sometimes most people are from the show me state, you know?
Yeah. Hey, yeah, exactly.
And then when you show them, then they still come back and throw another turd ball across your deck, you know? So you know what? I don't give into energy vampirism anymore. If somebody's going to keep throwing turds across my deck, hey, have a great day. I just cut the Gordian knot, sweetie. I just move on because I don't have time to feed the negative energy vibration. I'm going to keep it positive for the ones that are awake and enlightened and ready to go to the next level.
Well, and that's the thing is, you know, when I open Transcendence, everyone says, okay, what are you guys doing? Nobody's even going to come. It's like, we're not even really metaphysically focused. We're more metaphysically, spiritually, and scientifically connected here, where we're doing some things that nobody else is doing here in Kansas. And we had so many people say, no one's going to come. No one's going to come there. And so what I decided was, instead of buying into that belief system, I said the people who are ready will show up. And you know what's awesome about that is when someone's ready, they're grateful. So I don't really have, I've not had one client come through here who wasn't extremely grateful for what we were doing. So we haven't really had any haters as far as clients go. We've had a ton of gratitude because we set the intention with Transcendence that it was only going to be people who were here by choice.
Right. And when
when someone says, "Oh, please help my sister's brother, uncle," I said,
no,
I said, you know what? When they're ready,
they'll come in.
Have my information, because I don't want anybody here who's not ready, because it's not my job to convince you to wake up.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Exactly what I was going to say. It's not my job to convince you of anything. And it's, I'm done convincing. I'm working with the ones that are awake. And it's beautiful. I talked to a special spirit yesterday, Maxine. They just come in left, right, and center. They're everywhere, all over the planet. And it makes my heart feel so good because I get to talk to them daily. You know, it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the work that we get to do here too, because even though sometimes I spent 8 hours in the trenches of the dark night of the soul with people, it's, you know, we get to go outside in the light and feel so rewarding that we're literally blowing through thousands of timelines of fear and setting people free. And, you know, it's not always easy work. But it's very rewarding. And when I first started this journey, I always tell people that I started this journey completely selfish.
Yeah.
I just wanted to feel better.
Right.
I had no idea that I would be doing any of this professionally. I didn't set out to do this work professionally. I literally hid in my house for 2 years when this all was happening with me. And it was all about, how can I heal me? What can I do? Asking myself the questions and connecting with the higher energies. And it was so selfish. And now I realize that actually kept me away from being really spiritually codependent.
Yeah.
And, you know, diving into certain dogmas of different spiritual realms where I would get lost in it. And kind of learning discernment and learning how to trust my own intuition. And I'm really grateful that I did that. And now when I show people, I make sure that I tell them that, you know, I'm not the teacher, I'm the mirror. And my job is just to hold the mirror for you to see your authentic self. And I will challenge you until you meet them face to face.
Right. Well, I feel more like the teacher end of this because I knew that I was supposed to open the door to the endocannabinoid system because nobody knows what the hell it is. I said, I got to educate people on the endocannabinoid. I mean, you know, gee, couldn't it have been a little bit a harder task? And see, now I'm not being negative. I'm stating something here. I was talking to my friend in Santa Fe yesterday. I said, you know, I really like the struggle, I guess. And it's not, okay, it's not even the struggle. I take on the biggest bear in the room because nobody's ever done an education on the endocannabinoid system en masse. You know what I'm saying? And that's my objective, because once they understand they have an endocannabinoid system, what they can do to rewrite it, to relight it, to get it to go, it's going to be beautiful.
So why don't you really quickly explain what that is to our listeners here?
It's in a video. I did it in a video. That's why it's over on International Kid. But I will give you the basics.
Just summary.
The nickel tour. Okay. The endocannabinoid system basically is the homeostasis of your body. Everybody has one from the mollusk on up. They never told us that we had one, so we just went back to sleep on ourselves, because until we bring continuity of flow to the body, which is called homeostasis, which is an alkaline condition in the whole body, not just the body, but the mind, body, spirit, because it actually is dealing with all the neurons, the brain waves, the physical body. It's covering the mind, body, and spirit. It's a plant that actually covers all three of those. And we have these endocannabinoids, these beautiful, we have to relight them or realign them, bring them online, because they've gone to sleep, because we've had 5 generations since 1937 where they shut the door and that they created a Schedule 1 drug out of cannabis, which is the most dense nutritional product on the planet, bar none. I was having dreams of hemp powder last night.
Wow.
It really does fix everything. When you read just the fundamentals, just on even the hemp powder, it's yeah, I got 5 minutes. Video is telling me. Anyways, it's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. It's wow, this thing. What doesn't it do? You know, and they're already proven it. The studies are in, and that's why I created the International Cannabis Patients Wall over there, so people can actually scroll down. I've got the 121 National Institute of Health reports proving what the THC oil can do to all cancers. I have all these other supporting documents. The jury is in. The problem is they don't teach this in medical school, because the doctor's got to sell those pharmaceuticals, because it's all Rockefeller control construct. So it's really nice. Once you know you have endocannabinoids, what can you do to get them realigned? Boom. Get on some cannabis paste, get on some CBD oil. But like I say, I'm really anal retentive about looking at people, how they break stuff down. We use the whole plant. Everybody else is breaking stuff down. They're stripping elements out of it. You can't do that. You know, the part of the whole, it's not that you can't be part of the whole. It's got to be the whole of the whole to become whole again, you know?
You need the whole frequency, the compound. And
yes.
That's the thing is, but this is a part of the bigger picture, which is personal awareness, you know,
yes.
because it isn't just like take this hemp and you're going to be completely enlightened in 31 days.
Nope.
It's use this in conjunction with, you know, personal processing, with brain retrainment, with meditation, with, you know,
coming to class, hey, sweetie, coming to class over at Privatis.Me every Thursday, which I do for the planet for free. I do educational on y'all. You know, I'm going to talk about the Celtic salt. I'm going to talk about all these other simple elements that you can be doing in conjunction with this. And I don't charge for it, sweetie. I ain't about the damn money. I do this out of the love of my heart, because I want to get the energy and the love vibration back up on the planet.
And it's getting there. It's getting there. I mean, we're there. I mean, everybody. It's the birthing process is happening. We don't need to worry about that anymore. We just need to have tools in place for people to be supported during their transition and during the integration part. And you know, when someone is, it's almost like, you know, when you're dealing with an addict and they're finally getting off of their drug and they're going through that healing period where, you know, there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of instabilities, there's a lot of fear coming up. And honestly, the awakening is fantastic when then you hit that kind of, you hit the detox element of your ego, where you've got to detox your ego now. And I will tell you that doing it by yourself is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you have a bunch of family and friends that don't support you.
Yeah.
You know, it can make or break your awakening. And so I always say, you know, once you're awake, that's when the real work is going to start.
Yeah.
And now you've got to integrate all your lower energies and your lower selves and make that light and make that love. And anything that we can do, music, clearing your life of negative people, taking good care of your bodies, you know, stop watching the news, getting sunlight, getting clean water, you know, getting salt, getting all of these things that we need to mineralize our systems again, then, you know, that's going to be how we can move through this with ease.
Yeah.
Instead of struggle.
Yeah, with ease, not disease. Anyways, we're down to 60 seconds. Give me your transcendence just at the end of this. I'm going to post it as a link anyways when I download this, but go ahead and share with them where you're at, www.transcendence.com.
We are www.transcendencekc.com.
Yep.
And we are on Facebook, Transcendence Wellness Center. We do a ton of postings. We have our YouTube channel is linked to our website. So I have a ton of videos on everything from PTSD to personal journeys, so all that stuff. And yeah, you can give us a call if you have questions. We love emails because we know that this is reaching people all over the world.
Yep.
We love to hear your success stories. We love to hear your challenges. You know, Susie and I, we open Transcendence by ourselves, and we're down on the bottom.
In the trenches. Yep.
We're doing it, and we've been open over a year now, and we're really our definition of success. We're really helping people. So
beautiful.
Excited to be on the show.
Yep. Thank you, Jessica, for coming on and sharing the love today, folks. We love you, and hey, share the love on the planet. This is what we're here to do. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Biggie. Peace.
Thanks.
The pursuit of a free, fair, just, sustainable world should be the focus of every person on our planet. The reason it is not is because people are kept distracted by the illusions and deceit propagated by the corporately controlled mainstream media. In recent years, the rise in truly informed, savvy researchers and journalists who have all taken to the air in various capacities has given rise to a new genre of media. We have seen the explosion of truly free and independent media, and thus the need to create an ethical live broadcast network that facilitated these brave and tireless souls became apparent. With a great amount of research and meticulous planning, Conscious Consumer Network was created. CCN is a first-of-its-kind broadcast network that is specifically dedicated to free and independent media with absolutely no government control, corporate sponsorship, or advertising. The live broadcast network runs full-time with an average of 25 shows and live broadcasts a week. The high-definition live stream is free to view and is accessible from any computer terminal with online access, including laptops, tablets, smartphones, and smart TVs. All shows are archived onto YouTube and are freely available to view in order to educate and inform as many as we can without imposing monetary limitations. CCN was successfully launched on the 1st of January 2015 and has gone from strength to strength as we have improved and increased the capacities and functionalities of the network, as well as an ever-rotating and improving lineup of content which is broadcast daily. CCN is blessed to be the home of some of the hardest-hitting, most cutting-edge, truly educational and informative materials. Catch interviews, reviews, and talk shows from the many different and beautiful perspectives from CCN's family of interviewers and broadcasters. Since the 1st of January 2015, we have produced over 800 shows. We have over 2 million YouTube minutes watched every month, and we have an average of 1 million hits a day on CCN's website. CCN is viewed in over 147 different countries and hosts broadcasters from 5 different continents. The time has now come to generate funding to keep CCN on the air for the duration of 2016. The total sum needed to continue broadcasting for 2016 is $60,000. This budget includes the replacement of computer equipment, the acquisition of secure servers, which are most needed as we keep getting hacked, plus the renewal of the broadcast license fee for 2016. This is a fraction of the annual budget used by mainstream media networks producing a similar quantity of content. This is what makes CCN so successful, unique, and accessible, is the ability to run a project of this size and reach on such minimal resources. CCN does not claim ownership over any of the material we produce and broadcast, as we firmly believe that information is the common heritage of all beings, and thus CCN belongs to you, the public, and it is up to you all to keep CCN going. CCN would like to thank those who have contributed to the network in the past with resources, content, information, time, and energy. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.